Cruzeiro Esporte Clube, commonly known as Cruzeiro and nicknamed Raposa, is a Brazilian multisport club based in Barro Preto, Belo Horizonte. Although they compete in a number of different sports, Cruzeiro is mostly known for its association football team. It plays in the Campeonato Mineiro, the state of Minas Gerais' premier state league, as well as in the Campeonato Brasileiro Série A, the top tier of the Brazilian football league system. Cruzeiro are one of the 5 Brazilian clubs to have never been relegated, along with São Paulo, Flamengo, Internacional and Santos. The club was founded on January 2, 1921 by sportsmen from the Italian colony of Belo Horizonte, some members of Untitled Club and many Italian immigrant workers decided to create a new club called Società Sportiva Palestra Italia. As a result of the Second World War, the Brazilian federal government banned the use of any symbols referring to the Axis powers in 1942. The club board members rebaptized the club with the name of a leading national symbol, the Cruzeiro de Sol's constellation. Cruzeiro play the home games at the Mineirão Stadium, which currently holds up to 62,547 spectators. Cruzeiro's regular kit colors are blue shirts and white shorts with blue socks. Umbro are the side's current kit manufacturers. Cruzeiro is one of Brazil's most successful clubs despite its young age. It won the Campeonato Brasileiro Série A for the first time in 1966, after defeating Santos Os Fantásticos in the final series. Cruzeiro has won the Brasileirão again in 2003, 2013 and 2014, obtaining the best campaign in the present format of the competition. Cruzeiro has also won 4 Copa do Brasil titles and the Campeonato Mineiro 37 times. Cruzeiro won the defunct state competitions Taça Minas Gerais 5 times, the Copa dos Campeões Mineiros twice, Copa Sul Minas twice, the Torneio Inicio 10 times and the Super Campeonato Mineiro once. Raposa also obtained many international laurels such as 2 Copa Libertadores, 2 Super Copa Libertadores, 1 Recopa Sudamericana, 1 Copa de Ouro and 1 Copa Master da Supercopa. Cruzeiro is the only Brazilian and South American club to complete the domestic treble, a feat accomplished in 2003 after winning the Campeonato Mineiro, the 2003 Copa do Brasil and the 2003 Brasileirão. Cruzeiro hold a long-standing rivalry against Atlético Mineiro. It has contributed many key and famous players towards Brazil's FIFA World Cup squad such as Piazza, Tostão, Nelinho, Ronaldo, Luizão, Alex de Souza, Maicon, Chris Jairzinho, Rivaldo, Edilson among so many others. History. Cruzeiro's history is traced back to the Italian community living in Belo Horizonte, a city where already some Italian immigrants lived, and the desire to set up a football club. Similar to the Italians of São Paulo, the people of Belo Horizonte wanted the Italian colonies in Minas Gerais to have its own club as well. In the sporting goods and footwear Augustin Ranieri's factory, located on the street of Caetê, it was decided the foundation of the club should tackle the 3 major capital, Atlético Mineiro, America MG and Yale. Was born at that moment, the Società Sportiva Palestra Italia, established on January 2, 1921. The meeting was attended by 95 founders present their shield and uniform that made reference to the Italian colors, and whose SSPI description would be recorded in the center shell. Another definition was right that only members of the Italian colony could wear the shirt. Aurelionos was elected the first president. The Palestrina Italia emerged as the representative of the Italian colony, and is characterized as a team of Italian descent. Palestra also stood out by having elements of the Belo Horizonte working class, unlike Atletico and America, who had the consisting squad of college students coming from influential and wealthy families of the city. The idea of the club being created took a big step when Yale, a sports team from the city, went through an administrative crisis. When some players left Yale over a dispute, Sim went on to found the all-Italian Sociedad Esportiva Palestra Italia of Belo Horizonte. Until 1925, the club would only allow Italian men to participate. Palestrina debuted in the Prado Mineiro Stadium with a 2-0 win in a friendly on April 3, 1921, against a combination from Nova Lima. The Nova Lima team united players from two teams from the city, Villa Nova and Palmeiras. Another team formed Nova Lima. However, the first official match of Palestra was in a 3-0 win over future arch-rivals Clube Atlético Mineiro. In 1927, in a Mineiros championship match. On January 1942, Brazil entered World War II, and a decree of the federal government forbade the use of terms from enemy nations in entities, institutions, establishments, etc. With this, the Italian name was removed and the club could no longer call themselves Palestra Italia. The name was changed to Sociedad Esportiva Palestra Mineiro. Around 6 months later, the president Enis Ciro Poni called a General Assembly for October 7 and suggested the name Ipiranga. Between October 3 and 7, the local media published the new name thinking it would be approved. In Assembly, the councillors and associates kept professional system and approved changing club's name and colours. Yale and Ipiranga were suggested, but Cruzeiro Esporte Clube was chosen to honour the biggest symbol of Brazil, the constellation of Crux. The idea was from Oswaldo Pinto Coelho. However, the club kept playing as Palestra Mineiro until 1943, when the local federation approved the new statutes. The approved colours were blue and white. With the inauguration of the Mineirão in 1965, Cruzeiro entered one of the most successful periods in its history, in which the club won 5 Campeonato Mineiro titles in a row, and went on to win its first national title, the 1966 Taça Brazil, beating Santos of Pelé in the final. Cruzeiro won the first leg 6-2 at the Mineirão, and the second leg 3-2 in São Paulo. In the 1974 Campeonato Brasileiro Série A, Cruzeiro were runner-up for the first time, after losing to Vasco in the finals. Later in 1975, Cruzeiro were runner-up in the Campeonato Brasileiro again, this time losing to Internacional. In 1976, Cruzeiro won its first Copa Libertadores de América over River Plate of Argentina. Cruzeiro went on to be runners-up of the same competition in 1977, being defeated in the finals by Boca Juniors, also of Argentina. After winning the 1976 Copa Libertadores, they participated in the 1976 Intercontinental Cup, now renamed the FIFA Club World Championship, for the first time, and tied Bayern Munich 0-0 at the Mineirão, but lost 2-0 to Bayern in the Olympiastadion. After tasting success in the 1960s and 1970s, Cruzeiro entered a dark period in the 1980s. With the exception of a couple of Campeonato Mineiro wins, the club won no other championships in the 1980s, and had its worst performances in the Campeonato Brasileiro, 33rd in 1984 and 29th in 1985. The 1980s was the only decade Cruzeiro did not participate once in the Copa Libertadores since the tournament's creation in 1960. The club were invited to Europe in 1988 by Scottish side Celtic to play a friendly as part of the Glasgow club's centenary celebrations. In the 1990s a new era began, and a 15-year sequence of at least one title per year was initiated. This included 6 of the club's 7 international championships and a Campeonato Brasileiro. In December 2010 the CBF also recognized Cruzeiro as Brazilian champion of 1966, for having beaten Santos of Pelé 6-2 in Belo Horizonte and 2-3 in São Paulo. The club's biggest exploit in the 21st century happened when it won the Campeonato Brasileiro Série A, with 100 points earned during the season, and just over 100 goals scored in 46 matches. It was one of the most successful campaigns ever by a club in a Brazilian championship. In 2003, besides winning the Campeonato Brasileiro Série A, Cruzeiro also won the Copa do Brasil and the Campeonato Mineiro, to become the only Brazilian team to win the Triple Crown. From 2003 to 2012, Cruzeiro have only won one major tournament, the Campeonato Mineiro. However, the club finished in the top 5 of the Campeonato Brasileiro in 2007, 2008, 2009 and 2010, guaranteeing a spot in the Copa Libertadores for 4 consecutive years. In 2010, after a great campaign in the Campeonato Brasileiro Série A, Cruzeiro took the 2nd place and qualified for the Copa Libertadores da América for 2011. Cruzeiro's biggest success in recent years was reaching the finals of the 2009 Copa Libertadores. However, they lost to Estudiantes de La Plata 2-1. After a disastrous 2011 season, escaping relegation only in the last round after a triumphant 6-1 against arch-rival Atlético de Vespasiano, Gilvan Tavares became president for the 2001-2013-2014 triennium. 2012 was slightly better than 2011, but still Cruzeiro won no titles. In 2013 Cruzeiro lost Campeonato Mineiro again, despite displaying a good game against smaller clubs. Copa do Brasil started promising, but Cruzeiro was knocked out by future champion Flamengo in the quarter-finals. After the elimination, Cruzeiro went all into Campeonato Brasileiro and was crowned champion for the 3rd time, this time 4 rounds before the championship ended, playing an offensive and intense game that led many, including press and runners-up, to attribute the title many rounds before the mathematical confirmation. Cruzeiro's 2014 season was even more successful. It started with Cruzeiro winning the Campeonato Mineiro without losing a single match in the whole competition. In the Copa Libertadores da América, Cruzeiro was knocked out in the quarter-finals by future champion São Lourenço de Almagro, being the last remaining Brazilian team in the competition. This loss did not prevent Cruzeiro to lead the Campeonato Brasileiro for almost the whole competition, being crowned champion for the 4th time and becoming the 2nd team not from Rio de Janeiro nor São Paulo to win the Campeonato Brasileiro twice in a row. Cruzeiro also got to the final of the Copa do Brasil, but lost both matches to rival Atlético Mineiro. Symbols, colors. When Cruzeiro was still known as Palestrina Italia, the home shirt color was green. The first home kit was an improvised dark green shirt with white shorts and green stockings. Cruzeiro used this kit in the first professional game on April 3, 1929. 1921, in the Prado Mineiro Stadium, with a 2-0 win over the Vila Nova Palmeiras combined team of Nova Lima. In 1928 the shirt became a lighter tone of green, with a white neck design and red cuffs. The shorts continued to be white, but the green stockings now had red and white details, similar to that of the Italian flag. This particular uniform was used up until 1940. The light green color of the shirt would later give the team the nickname Periquito, Portuguese for parakeet. In 1940 there was a big change to the shirt. The shirt began to feature horizontal stripes, with the club crest in the center. This was the shirt used to win the 1940 Campeonato da Cidade, now known as the Campeonato Mineiro, after the club had been unable to win the tournament for 10 years. The club also began to be called Tricolor instead of Periquito. In 1942, Cruzeiro played one game under the name Ipiranga, and for this game a blue shirt with a central horizontal stripe was used. In 1943, Cruzeiro played its first game under its current name. The shirt used then was an all-blue shirt with a large white V-neck design. The shorts and stockings were white. In 1950, due to bad stadium lighting, Cruzeiro began to use an all-white shirt during night games. The shirt, which featured blue details and blue shorts and white stockings, was used for 9 years. In 1956, Cruzeiro used, for a short while, a new shirt that was made up of white and blue horizontal stripes. The uniform was not used in many games. There was a change to the shirt in 1959. The shirt became all blue, a design that would influence later shirts. In the 1959 shirt, instead of using its normal crest, Cruzeiro simply used the 5 stars in the crest, loose on the shirt. The shirt made its debut in the Estadio dos Tecilos in a friendly match against Renascença on September 19. In 1984, Cruzeiro had the first ever company logo in its shirt. It was the shirt manufacturer's logo, which was Topper. In the same year, Cruzeiro had its first shirt sponsor, Medradão. Medradão was only used on the away shirts. Crest. The first Palestrina Italia crest was a rhombus whose top half was red and bottom half was green. In the center of the crest was a white circle with the letters P and I inside it. The following year, 1922, the club's crest maintained its rhombus shape, but was now completely white, with the letter P, S and I inscribed within it in green. In 1923, the crest lost its rhombus shape and instead just had the green letters S, P and I. From 1928 to 1939, the crest was identical to the first crest in 1921. Just 1 year later the crest became a little different. The top half was green and the bottom half was red, similar to the crests from 1921 and 1929 to 1939, but instead of green letters in its center, it now had the letters S, P and I in yellow. The crest introduced in 1940 would be the last for Palestra, because the club would soon become Cruzeiro. Cruzeiro's first crest was introduced in 1950 and was very simple. A blue circle, with a white border inside of which were 5 white stars, positioned to look like the Southern Cross. This first crest was used for over 9 years, until 1959. In 1959 the crest changed, now with the white border around the crest with the words Cruzeiro Clube Belo Horizonte in blue. This version of the crest was used until 1996, making it the longest used crest by Cruzeiro. In the same year, Cruzeiro removed Belo Horizonte from the crest. This format was used until 2005. In 2006, to honor its successful 2003 season, a crown was added on top of the crest, to symbolize the Triple Crown. Cruzeiro has not always used its official crest on its shirt. In 1959, instead of using its crest, the club opted to simply put the 5 stars from the Southern Cross on its shirt. This was done until 2000, when the actual crest was again used. In 2002 and in part of 2003 the loose stars were used. Partway through 2003 a new shirt that contained the actual crest was introduced, but instead of just using the regular crest the shirt featured 2 Copa Libertadores trophies on top of the crest. In 2004 a similar design was used, but now featured a crown, symbolic of the Triple Crown on top of the 2 trophies. Since 2007 the club has used the loose stars design on home shirts. It should be noted that none of these designs actually became the official club crest. Anthem. The club's anthem, Hino ao Campeão, was written by Jadir Ambrosio in 1966, in homage to the team of his heart. He never meant for it to become the official anthem, but when fans started hearing it they liked it enough to adapt it as the new anthem. Kit history. Mascot Fernando Peruccetti, more popularly known as Mongavera, created the club's mascot, Raposa. Mongavera was inspired by the club's ex-president, Mario Grossa. He was a director who let no one trick him. He was sly, agile, intelligent and skillful like a fox. Quote, in the 2000s, Cruzeiro has made the Raposa its biggest mascot, appearing at all home games and cheering with the crowd while wearing the club's colors. In 2010, Raposa won Rede Globo's Competição Mascots, held in the Sunday sports show Esporte Espetacular. The program united 20 mascots from the biggest Brazilian teams and had them competing in series of challenges. Raposa won all of the events and was crowned as Brazil's best mascot. In 2012, Cruzeiro introduced a junior mascot named Raposinho, who's basically just a smaller version of Raposa. Presidents: Aurelio Nos 1921-22, Alberto Nos 1923-24, Americo Gasparini 1925-26, 1928, Antonio Falsi 1927-1929-30, Raz Pellegrino 1927-28, Lidio Lunardi 1931-32, Jose Viana de Souza 1933, Miguel Pereira 1933-36, Romeo de Pauli 1936, Osvaldo Pinto Coelho 1936-40, Enes Ciro Poni 1941-42, João Fantoni 1942, Wilson Saliba 1942, Mario Tornelli 1942, Mario Grosso 1942-47, Fernando Tamietti 1947-1950, Antonio Cunha Lobo 1947-49, Antonio Alves Simas 1949, Manuel F. Campos 1950, Divino Ramos 1951, Jose Greco 1952-53, 1955, Wellington Armanelli 1954, Jose Francisco Lemos Filho 1954, Eduardo S. Bambira 1955-56, Manuel A. de Carvalho 1957-58, Antonio Braz Lopes Pontes 1959-60, Felicio Brandi 1961-82, Carmine Ferletti 1983-84, Benito Masci 1985-90, Salvador Masci 1990, Circuit Sar Masci 1991-94, Zezé Perelin 1995-02. Alvimar de Oliveira Costa 2003-08. Zezé Perella 2009-11. Gilvan Tavares 2012-present. Current squad. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Squad names and numbers as of July 19, 2016. Reserve team. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Out on loan. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. First team staff. Notable players, former coaches. Records and statistics. Most appearances. The player with the most appearances for Cruzeiro is the current goalkeeper and team captain, Fabio, with a stunning record of 670 appearances since 2005, beating former midfielder Zé Acute Carlos with 619 appearances between 1965 and 1977. In third place on that list is 1971's Bola de Ouro winner, the Prince Dirceu Lopes, while the fourth place belongs to former Brazilian international and 1970 FIFA World Cup champion Wilson Piazza. The fifth overall player and second goalkeeper with the most appearances for Cruzeiro is the notorious Raul Plasman, who played a total of 557 games with the team. The non-Brazilian with the most appearances for the club is the Argentine Roberto Perfumo, who made 138 appearances for the club between 1971 and 1974. Top goal scorers. Brazilian Hall of Famer and 1970 FIFA World Cup winner Tostão has scored the most goals for Cruzeiro, 249 between 1963 and 1972, having appeared on 378 matches for Cruzeiro. He beats Dirceu Lopes by 25 goals on that list, which also has old-timer Nijinho closing the top three, being the only ones with over 200 goals for Cruzeiro. Ni now holds the record for goals scored in a single match, 10 in Cruzeiro's 14-0 win over Alves Nogueira during Campeonato da Cidade on June 17, 1928. Nelinho holds the record for most goals scored from penalties, 38, and the record for goals scored from fouls, 42. Walter Monteo's 39 goals make him the non-Brazilian with the most goals for Cruzeiro, a record that would belong to Bolivian national football team vice-captain and striker Marcelo Moreno with 48 goals, a Spanish 1930s striker, Fernando Carrasco, with 44 goals, had they not become Brazilian nationals. Honors. International Copa Libertadores de América 1976-1997. Supercopa Sudamericana 1991-1992. Copa de Oro 1995. Recopa Sudamericana 1998. Copa Master de Supercopa 1994. National Campeonato Brasileiro Série A 1966, 2003, 2013, 2014. Copa do Brasil 1993, 1996, 2000, 2003. Regional Campeonato Mineiro 1926, 1928, 1929, 1930, 1940, 1943, 1944, 1945, 1956, 1959, 1960, 1961, 1965, 1966, 1967, 1968, 1967, 1969, 1972, 1973, 1974, 1975, 1977, 1984, 1987, 1990, 1992, 1994, 1996, 1997, 1998, 2003, 2004, 2006, 2008, 2009, 2011, 2014. Copa dos Campeões Mineiros 1991, 1999. Super Campeonato Mineiro 2002. Taça Minas Gerais 1973, 1982, 1983, 1984 and 1985. Tournament start 1926, 1927, 1929, 1938, 1940, 1941, 1943, 1944, 1948 and 1966. Copa Salminas 2001, 2002. Copa Centro-Oeste 1999. Trebles and doubles. Trebles, domestic Triple Crown State Cup and League 2003. Doubles, domestic doubles State and League 2014. Continental doubles State and Supercopa Sudamericana State and Copa Libertadores 1997. Other featured campaigns: Copa Libertadores de America, runners-up, 3rd place, 1967, 1975. Campeonato Brasileiro Série A, runners-up, 3rd place, 4th place, 1968, 1987, 2009. Copa do Brasil, runners-up, semi-finalist, 2005. Supercopa Sudamericana, runners-up, 1988 and 1996. Supercopa Masters, runners-up, 1992. Campeonato Mineiro, runners-up, 1922, 1923, 1924, 1925, 1926, 1927, 1932, 1933, 1936, 1938, 1950, 1954, 1955, 1962, 1970, 1971, 1976, 1978, 1979, 1980, 1981, 1982, 1983, 1985, 1986, 1988, 1989, 2000, 2005, 2007, 2013. Grounds and facilities. Cruzeiro's first stadium was the Estadio de Prado Mineiro, which belonged to the Federação Mineira de Futebol. The club's first game at the stadium was 2-0 win over a Vila Nova Palmeiras combined team from Nova Lima on 3 April 1921. Cruzeiro would use the stadium until 1923, when the club built its own stadium, Estadio de Barro Preto. On July 23, 1923, Cruzeiro debuted at the stadium in a 2-2 tie with Flamengo. In 1945 the stadium went through renovations and would become at the time the largest stadium in the state, with a capacity of 15,000, and later on would become known as Estadio Juscelino Kubitschek. Cruzeiro would use the stadium until 1965, when the Mineirão was opened. In 1983 the stadium was torn down and one of the club's social clubs was built there. Since 1965 Cruzeiro play the home games at Estadio Governador Magalhães Pinto, often referred to as just Mineirão in Belo Horizonte, MG. Cruzeiro shares the stadium with rivals Atlético Mineiro. The stadium does not belong to Cruzeiro. Rather, it belongs to the state of Minas Gerais and is administered by the stadium's administration of the state of Minas Gerais. The stadium, which was built in 1963, had an original capacity of about 130,000, but over the years the capacity has been reduced, and currently its seats 64,800. Named after former Minas Gerais Governor José de Magalhães Pinto, it took over 4,000 workers to build the stadium. The period after the stadium's inauguration is often called Era Mineirão, which saw Cruzeiro gain national and international prominence. Cruzeiro also holds the attendance record at the stadium, when 132,834 spectators watched Cruzeiro beat Vila Nova in the 1997 Campeonato Mineiro final. Cruzeiro have had plans to build a new stadium, especially under President Alvimar de Oliveira Costa's tenure. However, the state of Minas asked Cruzeiro to stay at the stadium, and after President Cesar Perella came to the presidency in 2009, plans for a new stadium virtually disappeared. The Mineirão was selected as a host stadium for the 2014 FIFA World Cup, with renovations beginning on June 25, 2010 and is projected to be completed by December 2012. After the stadium's closing, Cruzeiro began playing home games at the Arena de Jacaré and Ipatinga stadiums, both outside the city of Belo Horizonte. Independencia Stadium is also being renovated, and Cruzeiro will start playing home games there in 2011 until the Mineirão is ready in 2012. The club has private ownership of other facilities though, including 2 training facilities, an administrative headquarters and 2 social club facilities. Cruzeiro has often been praised for having one of the leading infrastructure systems in Brazil.